me start recording whilst I say this. Okay. So first and foremost, welcome. As you know, we're doing revision for your assignment that you guys had to do earlier on in the semester, right? So we aren't going to go through all of it because obviously there's not enough time during the 2 sessions. But what I want us to do is to obviously ensure that we go through the bits that pertain to 1B, right? So, and on top of that, you know, theory related stuff, I'm not going to run through that either with you. I mean, that's literally just opening your textbook. And I don't think anybody really struggled with that either. So the focus will be obviously, you know, the stuff in 1B that we have tackled. Okay, so that's it. Let's get into it. Let me just open this up for the guys online. I'm sure you guys will be able to obviously download your assignment again, but just obviously just to make your lives a little bit easier. Okay, I may not use that there. Come in. Supposed to be here accounting, right?
I think so.
Yes. Okay. Oh, grab one of those papers over there. It's actually a whole. So just grab that top bit there. Okay, so let me help you with that.
No stack.
Yeah, no. Okay, that's your assignment. Right, now, sorry, just give me a second here. I wanna. No. This assignment you did. We're revising the assignment you did. Okay. Or did you just grab the top paper? Okay, I see. So that means you're missing a top paper. Let's see, grab the stack. Okay, now, where was I with this? Okay, all right. Okay, so here we are, question 1. All right. So for question 1, right, they gave us obviously a bank reconciliation question. Okay. Now you guys are familiar with this, so we might not go thoroughly through it. In fact, we should. Let's do it. Let's do that so that you know we obviously are helping each other ensure that we understand exactly what we needed to pay attention to. The first bit, question 1.1, you know, I always read the required before we get into the actual question because we need to know exactly what they need from us so we know what we're paying close attention to. So question 1.1, it says, in your own words, explain the difference between an adjusting difference and a timing difference and provide an example of each. Okay, so this is something that you guys shouldn't have had any problems with because it's in your textbook, and obviously you have time to actually open your textbook and find these answers. Okay, but nonetheless, I've just filled in the information over there for you guys. All right, so an adjusting difference is this difference occurs when the business is not aware of a particular transaction recorded by the bank. Okay, so for instance, when you have bank charges, right, or you have interest that has been received, right, because maybe you had a positive balance on your bank account, right, obviously we're unaware of it until we actually look at the bank statement, right, so that would be an adjusting difference. A timing difference is the exact opposite. This is a difference that the bank is not aware of a certain transaction because maybe you have an outstanding check. So maybe it wasn't deposited in time, right? Or it hasn't yet reflected. It's still, how can I say this? It's still being transferred, that type of thing. So those are the type of timing differences that could occur. It's an outstanding check or an outstanding deposit. Okay, that's a quick and easy way to think of it right there. So that's question 1.1. Then we quickly move on to question 1.2. And question 1.1, again, also did not require you to actually read through the whole question. Hence why we just dealt with it there and then. Question 1.2 says, show the adjustments that would have been required in the cash books by completing the following tables in your answer booklet. Okay, and that's what your answer booklet looked like. You guys have that right in front of you. To the people online, you're obviously looking at my screen and you can see that there. Okay, so they want us to do the cash books, right? To adjust the cash books, basically. Then question 1.3, it says prepare the bank account in the general ledger on 31 May 2021. I was quite surprised by the things that I was seeing. Guys, this is stuff in 1A, okay? So, you wouldn't even find examples of how to do this in this textbook, because they are assuming you know this stuff, okay? And then prepare the bank reconciliation statement for 31 May 2021. And then finally, it is evident that cash is not being controlled well in the business. Identify 2 problems and provide advice to the owner as to how these problems can be avoided in future. All right. Cool. So we now know the gist of what they're asking us in the question. Now we need to quickly go through the question and see what information we have. Okay, so question 1. You have been provided with the following information from the books of Zebra Traders, information from the bank reconciliation statements on 30 April 2021. Okay, so they're giving us the bank reconciliation for last month. Remember, we are doing the bank reconciliation for, or we're doing the books for May, right? So here we have the bank reconciliation for April. All right, cool, no problem, right? And here it's very important when doing bank reconciliation is to remember your process. Remember when I did the theory, I showed you guys the steps through the slides. Okay, cool, right? So I didn't anticipate you guys joining us. So let me do this here. So I'm short one, but I do have one in my desk. So just give me 2 seconds, I'll get one for you. Hopefully no one arrives. I'll be back now. Okay, sweet. So I have an extra 2 here. So what else? Okay, cool. Right. So here we are. Question 1. We looked at the bank reconciliation for last month. First additional piece of information that they've given us is check number 265 appears in the bank statement for May 2021. Okay, so guys, remember what I said? You need to have a pencil on you as you are going through this bank reconciliation. Okay, and here's why. Because immediately you need to start crossing out and saying, where does this stuff need to go? Okay, which is why I printed out this stuff for you guys. Okay, so over here, so we look again back at our bank reconciliation for April, and you can see here, there is check 2651, okay, dated 27 April. Okay, so if it appears in the bank statement of May, that means that this issue has been addressed. Remember, this is the bank reconciliation that we sent at the end of April. All right. Reason why we send the bank reconciliation statement is to say these are the things that FNB, our bank, needs to fix in the statement, right? Okay. So since it appears in the bank statement for May, do we need to do anything in relation to check number 2651? We don't, right? So we can cancel out check number 2651, right, on the bank reconciliation statement for 30 April. And also we can cancel out that additional information because it's been dealt with. We need not worry, okay? Right, then we move on to the next one. It says deposit on 30 April appears on the May 2021 bank statement. Deposit on 30 April appeared. So what are they talking about there? On 30 April. Okay, so they're obviously talking to this outstanding deposits in the bank reconciliation here. So again, that 28,000 we need not worry about because it has been addressed in the bank statement. So you can cross that out as well, okay, and cross out that additional information. All right, so we don't have to go back to it. Then we go to the next one. Check 2001 has been canceled as the charity organization that it was given to no longer exists. So what's happening here? And this is why I'm happy that I'm doing this with you guys face to face. What's happening here? Somebody tell me what's happening. Come guys, just tell me what you think is happening. I'm not saying what do we need to do. Just tell me what you think is happening. What does that transaction tell us? It must go to the CRJ. Well, you are right. I was hoping you would give us the first step. So what's happening here is we wrote a check to a charity, but that charity no longer exists. So obviously that check was not, they didn't use the money, and hence the check was canceled. All right. So it's the same as a stale check. Remember, a stale check, if we wrote out a check and 6 months elapsed and nobody cashed that check, then it becomes a stale check and we get refunded the money that we obviously wrote that check out to. Okay. Well, let me not say refunded, but we need to rectify that because remember now, cash payments journal, we recorded having paid these people. So as she's saying, we now need to record in the cash receipts journal that that money is coming back into the business, okay? Because it went off our books, it needs to come back, okay? So there you need to write CRJ next to that transaction. We move on. The outstanding deposit of 8,500. Can you see that's the other outstanding deposit that we have in the what you call it, in the bank reconciliation for April? All right, 8,500. Okay. The deposit has not appeared. Okay, let me read it from the beginning. The outstanding deposit of 8,500 was in respect of cash received from an outstanding debtor. Okay, the deposit has not appeared on the May bank statement, and it has been discovered that this amount was recorded, but it was never deposited. The owner has authorized that this amount be written off as a loss to the business. The owner has also undertaken to investigate who is responsible for this theft. So there's an 8,500 that was supposed to be deposited, but the money never got deposited. Okay? It was discovered it was never deposited. So obviously, this money along the way has gone missing. All right? In our bank reconciliation, we recorded that the bank needs to record this money having been received. And in our CRJ, we've obviously recorded that we received 8,500 because we actually did receive the money, okay? But it never got entered into the bank. So what do we need to do with this transaction? And a lot of people were asking me, sir, I don't know what to do with this 8,500 when you guys were actually doing this question. So I'm going to ask you this question. Did we record having received the money through the CRJ? Yes or no? We did. Did we actually receive the money? We didn't. So how do we rectify that? The CPJ. We have to now reverse that by recording the 8,500 in the CPJ. So next to that, you need to write CPJ. Okay? Right. Let's move on to the next transaction. Okay? So the next, it says a comparison of the May bank statement and the May cash books revealed the following. Okay, so now we're done with this bank recon statement for what you call it, for April. So everywhere where we didn't write CRJ, CPJ, or bank recon, we now need to, if there are amounts basically where we didn't cancel out or we didn't write anything next to it, we now need to write bank recon. Okay, because we know that anything that was not dealt with in the bank statement from last month's bank reconciliation statement must be then recorded in next month's bank reconciliation. Does that make sense? So we need to record that in May's bank reconciliation statement. Something I forgot to do before we actually began was to recap on the steps of bank reconciliation. Okay, remember the steps for bank reconciliation. First thing that we want to do is we want to look at last month's bank reconciliation statement. I would pull up the slides, but we don't have time. So step number one, we look at last month's bank reconciliation, in this case, April's bank reconciliation, and we compare it to the bank statement to say, did they deal with the issues that we highlighted in last month's bank reconciliation in this month's bank statement? That's step number one, okay? After that, we then say, okay, cool. Obviously, we allocate to say, okay, this needs to be addressed in that book, this needs to be addressed in that. Cool. Then we now need to compare the cash receipts or the cash payments, we can start with either one, to the bank statement and say, are there any missing things in the cash receipts, if we start there, deposits or money received that are not in the bank statement. Okay, after we do that, we then go to the cash payments, do the same thing. Are there any missing payments, all right, that we have recorded that are not in the bank statement? Then we look at the bank statement and say, are there any amounts in the debit and credit column that are not in the cash book receipts? Then that means that if they are, then these things need to be obviously posted to the adjusted cash book payments and cash book receipts. Does that make sense? Then after you've done that, then you can also then move on to do your final bank reconciliation statement. okay? And then obviously you also, just before obviously adjusting, let me say it like this, after adjusting your cash receipts journal and cash payments journal, you would then have a new bank balance, right? So you would also have to redo the bank account in our books, okay? Then finally you can do the bank reconciliation statement. And then your bank account balance must match the bank statement balance. Then you know you've done everything correct, okay? So I'm just taking you through the steps and showing you this is where we are. So we have dealt with assessing last month's bank reconciliation statement with this month's bank statement. Does that make sense? We've dealt with that. Okay, now we're stepping into the cash books. All right, they say a comparison of May's bank statement and May's cash books revealed the following. Okay, cool. Bank charges, 530, were not recorded in the cash books. All right, so here, since it's what? Bank charges, we know that this is money leaving us. So in which cash book do we need to record this? CPJ. So we write CPJ next to it and we move on to the next. Can you see we have not done anything in terms of recording yet because we're just allocating where everything needs to go. Next thing, check number 2712 issued to creditor Mr. Lyon appeared correctly in the bank statement as 5,630, but was incorrectly recorded in the cash book payments as 6,530. Okay, so I'm telling you now that's a 900 Rand difference. Okay, so if we recorded the payment higher than what it should have actually been, because they said the bank statement was correct, right? What do we need to do to rectify this or correct this? If we have an error in the cash payments journal, where do we rectify it? CPJ. Sorry, CRJ, 100%. Okay, so this 900, we need to put that in the CRJ, the adjusted CRJ. So you can write CRJ next to it. Then the next one, a monthly stop order of 1,800 for insurance needs to be recorded in the cash book. Which journal is that going in? CPJ, okay? That's money leaving us. A dishonored check of 2,355 appeared in the bank statement. Dishonored check. We tried to cash a check, the money never got transferred. It bounced, the check bounced. This check was received from Miss H, all right, a debtor in settlement of her account, 2,400. So which amount are we going to be using? Or maybe let me start here. What do we need? Where do we need to record this? There's a dishonored check. The CPJ, 100%. Okay. Now we're going to record 2,400 or 2,355. 100%, because that's what the check was written out for. Okay. We gave them a discount. Okay. Or what is that? 45 Rand. Okay. And that would have. Huh? To do. No, they don't. Because remember, yeah, the rest of it you don't need to worry about. No. If they did, however, tell us to do the general journal, then we would have had to not only record the dishonored check, right, but also record the settlement discount that needs to also be reversed. Does that make sense? Which is what you're talking to. Yeah. Okay. Right. Then the next, it says interest of 480 received from the bank was not recorded in the cash book. Received, interest received from the bank. So where do we need to record this? The CRJ, 100%. Okay, so you put CRJ next to it, and then we'll get back to this now. Okay, the following entries appeared in the cash book. So basically what we've done here is we've done steps 2 and 3, which is comparing your CRJ and CPJ to your bank statement. Okay, Now, it says the following appears in the cash book of Zebra traders and not in the May bank statement. Okay. So outstanding deposits. All right. So in other words, money that we've received, but the bank has not yet recorded in their bank statement. 17,300 on 17 May, and then obviously 18,400 on 31 May. Where does this need to be recorded? If the bank has not recorded these things, where does it need to be recorded? In the bank reconciliation statement, the BR, yes. Okay. Any error or omission that the bank has made, it gets rectified in the bank reconciliation statement. So here we have checks not yet presented for payment. Again, this needs to be recorded in the bank reconciliation statement, both of these. Okay, so they give you the check numbers and they give you the amounts. Okay, so here you can see there's one dated for 25 June. Okay, and I think that, yes, you're still supposed to record in your, no, I lied. Nope, yeah, wait. Yeah, because it's a payment, even though it's in June, because it's a payment, we still record it. If it was cash being received, if it was an outstanding deposit, we weren't going to record something for June because that's in a different month from what we're operating. Does that make sense? But since it's a payment, this money leaving us, we can actually record that in the bank reconciliation statement. Okay, so we're almost done. Bank statement as at 31 May 2021. Sorry, bank statement balance, okay, on 31 May 2021 is 20,815, favorable. Where do we use this bank balance? This bank statement balance as at 31 May 2021, the 20,815, and it's favorable. Where do we actually use that piece of information? What do we need it for? Bank reconciliation statement, 100%. Okay, so that's where we're using that. And then it says here totals of the cash books before any adjustments. Okay, remember here they're just giving us the information. They're not actually showing us the statements. So this is the two ways that they can bring it. They can give you the information, or remember, if you look at some of the exercises in Unit 1, they actually gave us the tables, and then we were ticking off the tables. Okay, either way, because you know the process that you must do, you should be fine. Okay, right. So here now, obviously, those are the balances that we'd use at the beginning of either of our cash books. Happiness there. All right. So now that we've labeled everything, can you see how easy the job is now? Because now, literally all we're doing is we're coming here. Actually, I should not have done that. Let me do this rather. Okay, we're coming here and we're saying, okay, cool. I need to start with the cash book receipts. Okay, they gave us that 8,500, right? Then we look everywhere where we wrote cash receipts journal. All right. So for instance, when looking at the first place that we want to look, obviously, is last month's bank reconciliation statement. And for check 2001, okay, so 2001, okay, let me actually see how best they put it. Oh, so they did just, and then that amount, remember this is the check where we had that, what do you call it? The charity no longer exists, so we're getting our money back. Okay, then we go on to the next place where we wrote CRJ, and that was with the 900 Rand, remember, because of the incorrect amounts. that we had in the cash payments journal. Okay, so there you just write correction of error. Okay, and that was for 900 Rand. So R 900. Okay. Then the next bit, where else did we have cash receipts journal, guys? There was that interest. Interest received. Okay, and that was for 480. Okay. Is there anything else? Okay. I don't think there was anything else. Okay. Then the total you should have gotten here should be 12,100. Okay. We've dealt with the cash receipts, the adjusted cash receipts book. Then we obviously go on to the cash payments, do the exact same process. We start again. We look at the bank recon for last month. Where did we write CPJ? There's that 8,500. Remember, that never got to the bank. Okay, so here they actually wrote loss due to. That was what they were looking for. Yeah. Okay, they didn't give us the check number. I would have preferred if they gave us the check number, would have actually just put check and then put the check number. But since they didn't do that, you can put loss due to theft. Okay. And there you put your 8,500. Okay. Right. Then the next place where we wrote CPJ. And as you're going, you're obviously canceling out these because you're letting yourself know we've addressed it. Bank charges for 530. Okay. Bank charges are 530. Cool. All right. Then where else did we write CPJ? There's the insurance, the monthly insurance. And that was for 1,800. Okay. Then we have the dishonored check. Okay. So there you could have written the actual debtor's name, or you could have written dishonored check, or you could have written debtors control, and then in brackets written the debtor. Either way would have been fine. Okay. I think I probably would have just written dishonored check, but either way you would get your marks 355. And you are done with that first part of the question. Okay. You're done with the first part of this question. The second part was now to do the, oh, sorry, I forgot to put the total. So the total you should have come to for that is then the 17,000. When you add all that up, 17,685. Okay. Now, I have left this here because, guys, honestly speaking, I think we should not be discussing how to balance your bank account at this point. Okay, it's concerning how many things. I had people including each transaction, just basically saying, should I debit this or credit this? Would it reduce or increase my bank account? Guys, you need to go and look at your 1A textbook and look at your Unit 3 and Unit 2, where we dealt with or looked at the, what is this, the general ledger, and how the bank account, how we post things from the journals into the bank account, right? Now, let me zoom in here for you guys. Can you see clearly now? Okay. Now, all that you need to do is find the opening balance, okay, on your bank account, okay. Once you have the opening balance on your bank account, and where did we have the opening balance? How did we get the opening balance on the bank account? This is important. This is relevant for you, for us in 1B. We get the opening balance for the bank account by looking at the question and looking at last month's bank reconciliation statement, that final balance, okay? Because remember what we do when we submit a bank reconciliation statement to the bank, we're saying this is the balance we have on our books, and this is the balance you guys should also have on our bank statement. Remember, the whole process is bank reconciliation. What we have on our F&B bank statement must match what we have on our bank account in our books. That's bank reconciliation. When that happens, we know that all the transactions that have happened in relation to our bank, both with F&B and with ourselves, are matching. Does that make sense? Okay? Right. So that's where we get that from. Okay? If they do not give you last month's bank reconciliation statement, they will tell you that your opening bank account balance in your books is wada. Okay? So here, that's where we get the 36,500. Just plug it in. Now, obviously, we now have to put our total payments in. We do that from the CPJ, the balance that we had calculated. Okay? So then there was a method mark for you. Okay? The method mark is, do you know where that amount is coming? So whatever amount you had there, because maybe you may have made some mistakes and you didn't arrive at the 17,000, is what you should have plugged in there. Okay? Then same principle for the cash receipts, total receipts there. Okay? Guys, you should be very comfortable with this by now. Okay? Because obviously in Unit 4 and Unit 5, when we did the journals, they could have asked you to do this in the test or exam. Okay? So you should be comfortable with that. Okay? Now we come to the bank reconciliation statement. Okay? With the bank reconciliation statement, and this is the last thing that we'll do before I give you guys a break. Okay? As you highlighted, the opening balance that we are using there, in other words, the balance as per bank statement, okay, we're collecting that via looking at the actual balance that we have in our bank statement. So here they didn't give us the actual bank statement. So where do we go? We go to the additional information, and they told us this somewhere. The bank statement balance as at 31 May 2021 is 20,815. Okay, and you know, I obviously asked earlier, why is that important? And he answered. Okay, so now I'm showing you again. Okay, so now that we have that, and then we know in the format of our answers here, now you say less outstanding checks. Sometimes you can start by adding the outstanding deposits, is perfectly fine. Okay, I don't mind either way, you still would get your marks. Okay, so now we look and we say, okay, from last month's bank reconciliation statement, are there any amounts, any outstanding checks that were not dealt with in the actual bank recon, in the actual bank statement of May? Let's see, outstanding checks. I see check 2, what is it? 2691. Okay, and that was for 11,330. Okay. Oh, I put that in the wrong section. My bad. Okay. Right. Let's put that there. Okay. Right. Anything else? Let's see. Okay, there's nothing else in the bank recon, but let's see. Let's scroll through all the other stuff we labeled. Okay, nothing else until we get to the section where it says the following entries appeared in the cash books. Okay, and there we have outstanding checks, the ones that were not yet presented. So we're throwing both those in there. Let's do this. Oh, no. Okay, cool. Fine, let me copy this then. Okay, and the check number is 27278585. Okay, and the check number here is at 862805. Okay, and the amounts there, we have a negative 6,500. Okay, and here we have a negative 7,770. Okay, sweet. Then we can now go to the outstanding deposits. The outstanding deposits, pretty much doing the exact same thing. Go to the bank recon for last month. Do we have anything that should have been added there? Nothing, because we didn't label anything else bank recon. Scroll through our additional information. I don't see anything relating to bank recon until we get to that same section we were just at a minute ago. Outstanding deposits. Okay, so here I would just write the date, 17th May. Let's see how these guys did it. Sorry, give me a second. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, they wrote the date as well. Okay, cool. And what is this, 31st May or 25 June? No, look at the wrong thing. 31 May, yeah. 1st May. And then the amounts there, we have positive 17,300. And then finally, we have 18,400. All right, and that should lead you to a total, as you can see here, of 30,915. And if you look at the bank account, what's the balance there? When technology goes on strike. You can see there 30,915. So you know, okay, we've managed to do this correctly. Okay. So as I recall, a lot of the stuff that was giving students problem was that 8,500, like what to do with it, what to do with it. Okay. Which now upon investigation, for me, I think you should have known to put it in the cash payments journal. Okay. So guys, this stuff, the thing about it is, it seems very easy, but if you haven't practiced it, you'll get lost because you need to know your process in order to do bank recon, right? You need to know your process. So that's what bank recon is all about. Do you know the process? Because we can bring it in different ways, but if you know your process and you know where you are constantly, and you know what to do, then you're fine, okay? But it all begins with the process, okay? So that was bank recon. Obviously, then they just spoke on advice that you would give in relation to the 8,500. Obviously, my cash. What is this? Money is not being managed well. Okay, and these were the 2 points that you could speak to. Obviously, the cash being stolen. So obviously, you could set out a process to say not everybody should be permitted to depositing the money. There's all sorts of stuff that you could come up with. Encourage direct deposits. In other words, EFTs or customers depositing into the bank account as opposed to bringing cash. Okay. Reconcile the actual duplicate of the cash receipts issued to the bank slips and what has been recorded in the cash book. Reconcile the actual duplicate. Okay. So in other words, those deposit slips, you know, that you get from the bank when you deposit money in the bank, using that to actually record your cash receipts. And then bank charges. Okay. Right. And then there's 17,000. Obviously, you can implement depositing daily. Okay. So you shouldn't be having an outstanding check on something that happened on the 17th. There's so many days between the 17th and the end of the month. Okay. So that's another problem that they're highlighting there. Okay. So the theory side of it shouldn't have given you any problems. Usually, you know how we do there. as long as I can see some level of logic. So even if you didn't have those answers, a lot of you, I'm sure, still got your marks. Cool. All right, so let's take a breather, and then when we get back, we will further discuss the other things that you guys needed to do in your assignment. And there, I think there'll be a whole lot more just discussion and